Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving our thoughts on the new releases of today, including Megadeth, Miss May I, and Blind Guardian. So, a pretty interesting day for metal. We got some pretty different stuff going on today, and I guess I'm going to start it off with the album I started with today, which was The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead by Megadeth. And this is an album we've been hyped for a long time. Ever since we even heard, oh, there's going to be new Megadeth, right? It's like, new Megadeth. We want to hear new Megadeth.
Love Megadeth.
And then they released We'll Be Back, and it blew our minds. We're like, whoa, this album's going to be incredible.
Our minds.
And I think all of the singles they released from this album, fantastic. Night Stalkers, Soldier On, and We'll Be Back, all of them are great. And I think there's a reason why these songs were chosen. I think these three songs are probably some of the best the album has to offer. On top of another one, which is Celebutante, which I feel like fits in right with those. It just feels intense. You got the energy. It feels like, oh, this feels like old school Megadeth. That's kind of what I was coming to expect going into this album based on the singles. What I got was, okay, well, this sounds like modern Megadeth, but there's a few crazy songs in between, which is not a bad thing. It just left a slight disappointment just because I expected one thing, got something else. But that something else is still something good. It's still good Megadeth. And there's good riffs. There's good sections here and there. The song Junkie, usually this observation is the kind of observation you would make, but every time he says junkie, it sounds like he's saying chunky. So when I was listening to this song, I keep thinking he's saying chunky. So maybe that'll get into your ear.
You probably just ruined the song for me going forward, but yeah. Well,
hey, now you know how it feels.
True.
Anyway, Mission to Mars, the second half, nasty fucking riff. And it's like a complete 180 from the first half of the song as well, which isn't the end of the world, it's fine. But I kind of felt like the first half of the song felt like a spiritual successor to Hangar 18. And maybe a big part of that is the space theme, because he's going to Mars.
Maybe.
But I don't know, I just felt like the riff kind of just, it was like a distant kind of relative of Hangar 18 almost.
It's funny you say that song reminds you of Hangar 18 because in the song track number 5, Sacrifice, I have a note here that says some Hangar 18 vibes here. Like, that's one thing as well. Is like a lot of people say, oh, this reminds me of this Megadeth, or this reminds me of that, or it's this era or that era. Honestly, I felt like I was getting reminded of a lot of different eras of Megadeth, which is good. I think they're tapping into different spots of their career that different people like, and they're kind of making an album that's maybe for everybody that's followed them throughout their career. You mentioned Celebutante, which again is a great song, I agree. But I honestly, and I might rustle some feathers with this comment, I feel like this is a song that could have been on Kill 'Em All. Like riff-wise, honestly, you listen to the riffs on this song, and then listen to Kill 'Em All. Like it sounds like it could have been pulled right from that vault. And I thought that was really cool and interesting. We'll Be Back is my favorite song on the album still. I think as dropping that as a first single and blowing us away, it's still amazing. The riffs are nasty riffs. Some of the best I've heard. Probably riff of the year as far as metal goes. It's hard to top. You mentioned a few other songs that did stand out to me. There's a couple of bonus tracks on this album. I'm just going to mention them. They're not part of our review if we choose to review this album. But Police Truck, which is a Dead Kennedys cover, and then This Planet's on Fire, Burn in Hell, which is a Sammy Hagar song, but Sammy Hagar actually features on this track as well. Both are well done, but I particularly like Police Truck because it's a cool song originally by Dead Kennedys. I've always loved it, mainly because the 60s Batman theme riff is in this song if you listen carefully, and I love that it's in there. It just makes me think of old school Batman.
So it's like hearing Megadeth play that.
Exactly, and they do song a very good justice as well. Dogs of Chernobyl is another song that I've seen people talking about. It's creating some buzz, and for me, I think the song is great, but it really picks up in the second half. And that's a testament. Like you mentioned, the song that was better in the second half, the Mission to Mars, the ending.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these songs are good, and then they really just hammer it home at the end. And I think that's something that they're really striving to do, like get people to listen to the full song, because the juiciest, best parts are at the end. But anyways, I enjoyed it. I listened to it a couple times. I'm looking forward to listening to it more, but
Yeah, it was good.
What did you listen to after this? We have two other ones.
I checked out Curse of Existence by Miss May I. Now, from what I knew about this band, never really listened to them before, but from what I knew, I was like, okay, I think this is a metalcore band. Okay, so I'm gonna get my mind into metalcore mode. And immediately I thought, oh, these vocals sound like they're picked right out of In Flames. And I thought that was interesting, and that was a consistent thing through the album. Album has a really good vocal performance. Very nice sounding cleans, and the harshes, like I said, sound like they're from In Flames. I'm like, that's really cool. This album, to me, as I was listening, sounded like if In Flames was a metalcore band. And that's an interesting mix, and I haven't really heard anything like that before. So I thought that was really cool. And it's funny because my notes were like, oh, in the first track, oh, harsh vocals kind of sound like In Flames. Okay, cool. And then the second track started, I'm like, okay, this song just sounds like an In Flames song, which is cool. I like that. Another note I made is that Into Oblivion has a really good hard riff, but like the issue I was kind of finding with this album, as with a lot of metalcore bands, that a lot of the songs started to get a bit repetitive. There were songs that were coming on where I thought to myself, what's the clean chorus going to sound like? I think it'll sound like this, you know?
And then it happens.
And then it happens, and it might not be identical to what was in my head, but the fact that I was able to predict stuff on this album like that, it
takes away from the enjoyment.
It takes away from it, because I'm like, why is it predictable, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that it's bad, and it's a well-performed album, especially with the vocals really nice. It's just I felt like it was a bit repetitive and or predictable.
Yeah, I actually own an album from this band. When they first came out, I can't remember, it was like probably back in the mid-2000s, maybe early 2010s, I can't remember exactly, but they were kind of fresh on the scene, I think. I was hearing some stuff, bought an album. I can't remember what it's called. I think I remember what the cover looked like. I think it had like a girl's face on it or something. Anyways, I never stuck with them. I never followed their career or bought any more albums or got, whatever. So I kind of forgot what they sounded like. Listening to this album, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember. These guys are pretty fucking good, except for these choruses. I've said this before on the channel, I don't like these like soft, whiny choruses. They're not horrible. I'm kind of getting used to them as far as my age goes up. I'm being a little more tolerant towards them. So it wasn't as bad as it's been, like, as it was in the past as far as me not liking it. But I thought this album was decent, man. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit listening to it. I didn't find it to be that repetitive, other than what TV said, it's kind of predictable. But A Smile That Does Not Exist, which is track number 1. Track number 4, Into Oblivion, and track number 8, Unconquered, were the tracks that stood out to me the most for various reasons. Riffs, decent breakdowns, just overall a pretty solid album on a first couple listens. I didn't hate it at all, and I thought it was not bad.
All right, neat. The last album of today's video is The God Machine by Blind Guardian. The only thing I knew about Blind Guardian going in is I looked them up before checking out the album, like, earlier this morning, or I guess whenever this video drops. Either way, the morning of listening, and I thought, okay, they're a power metal band. Okay, let's get into power metal mode, right? I put it on, and it blew my socks off. I thought, what the, like, socks are like off. I don't know where they are anymore.
It's raining socks.
And I'm thinking like, okay, so this is like if Iced Earth was a power metal band. And that is sick. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
I was totally ready to think like, okay, it's gonna be like generic power metal or whatever, and I didn't get that. I got nasty riffs, crazy guitar work, ridiculous range of this vocal performance. Like, there's so much diversity. Every single song has an epic feel to it. Remember what I said about Overgivenheten by Soilwork? Mm-hmm. Every single song gave me the feel of that album, gave me like, oh, this is like some serious business for every single song. Just kept blowing my mind, like, oh, that's sick, oh, that's sick, this section's nasty, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. Violent Shadows is an example as to why this album feels unique, because that song is a lot more thrashy than it would sound like it's power metal. Like, it's a power metal band, but this is a thrashy sounding song, and there's tons of different stuff going on in this album. Like, it was ridiculous how good this album was.
Yeah, so this was the last album I listened to today, and unfortunately I didn't have time to get through the whole thing. I actually don't have any notes on it, so I don't know any song titles or any parts. So let me just talk about Blind Guardian for a minute. This is a band that over the years is one of those bands I've tried to get into many times. I drop an album, I check it out. I'm pretty sure I own 2 or 3 of their albums that I've just picked up randomly and tried to get into them. It's not that I don't like them, it's not that I hate it or think it's bad or anything like that, but there's just nothing about the band that really drives it home for me. but I really did like what I heard on this album. And I kept thinking, could this be the album that changes my mind? Could this be the album that makes me a Blind Guardian fan? I like the Ice Earth comparison or reference or whatever that was. I think Blind Guardian has been around maybe longer than Ice Earth, if not around the same time. This band goes back probably to the mid to early 90s, if not earlier. I don't know exactly. I forget stuff like that, but for the half of the album, I listened to about half of this album, I was digging it quite a bit. As you said, vocal performance is on point. The drums just hammer home. There's a lot of good thrashy stuff and melodic stuff happening. Could this be the album that makes me a Blind Guardian fan? I don't know. It would take some more listening and some more time put into it to see that, but I was more impressed than I definitely thought I was going to be. I was expecting to put it on and go, oh yeah, same old shit, whatever, skip this song. Oh yeah, I remember this. But no, I was enjoying it quite a bit.
Well, with that being said, as for what album we cover for this week, I think it's pretty clear. Megadeth is the album.
Gotta do Megadeth.
You know, we gotta do Megadeth. I'd love to cover Blind Guardian in a future review. I definitely think that album deserves a lot more focus because of how great it sounded. But obviously, we gotta do Megadeth, and I am excited for that too.
Yeah.
It was a good sounding album, and while there's already a few songs that sounded sick, maybe throughout the week, even more are gonna sound better.
Hope so.
Anyway, guys, that's all we got for you today. Remember to like the video if you liked it and comment. Tell us in the comments below what do you think of today's releases. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later.